episode 455 of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. I'll be talking about tonight's episodes of WWE NXT, the go home before this Sunday's Great American Bash, and Dark Side of the Ring, Bam Bam Bigelow, the Beast of the East. Right here, right now, 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Hey Wrestling Fanatics, welcome to 360 Wrestling Fanatic. I am Lance Brock on this Tuesday night. Thank you everyone for tuning in. And on tonight's episode, tonight's NXT, the go home episode of the go home episode of NXT before this Sunday's Great American Bash Premium Live event, and Dark Side of the Ring featuring Bam Bam Bigelow. And let's get right into it tonight by talking tonight's NXT on USA. And I just want to say, I did watch it, of course, but I'm no match ratings for this episode tonight. And not that it was a real bad episode, but maybe I might not do every TV episode with match ratings. I was thinking maybe save it for, I don't know if I would say big shows, but I guess maybe when I'm in the mood to. And tonight and I've talked about this before, don't mean any disrespect towards NXT, but it's probably out of the wrestling shows that are on TV right now, probably it's just kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't say I don't like it, but it's kind of the hardest for me to kind of get into. But it has gotten a little better, yes, but still, I don't know, maybe it's just me, it's just, I wouldn't say it's real great right now. But let's get into this episode, though, of WWE NXT. Like I said, this is the go-home show before the Great American Bash PLE this Sunday on Peacock and the WWE Network. And we start things off. We have the new NXT North American Champion, Dominic Mysterio, and the World Women's Champion Rhea Ripley representing the Judgment Day. And they cut a pretty good promo here, I thought. And then this ends up leading into a match. Carmelo Hayes, Trick Williams, and Ilya Dragunov taking on Schism, Joe Gacy, Jagger Reed, and Rip Fowler, with Ava Raine in their corner in the 6-man tag. And Hayes, Williams, and Dragunov are victorious. And there's some problems between Williams and Dragunov in this one. Von Wagner defeats Javier Bernal and power bombs him through the announce table. And then he is attacked by Braun Breaker. Dana Brooke defeats Cora Jade in a kendo stick match. And Tony D'Angelo, who is now a free man, and Channing Lorenzo defeat Lucien Price and Bronco Nima. And in the main event of tonight's NXT, Rhea Ripley with Dirty Dom in her corner defeated Laya Valkyria. That was tonight's NXT. The go-home show before the Great American Bash this Sunday. And I know I missed the last segment. That was because it was getting a little late and I wanted to get over to Vice for Dark Side of the Ring. The Bam Bam Bigelow episode, which is one that I was looking forward to. So I wanted to get to Vice quick. And let's get right into that episode of Dark Side of the Ring. And like I said, this was one I was looking forward to. I thought it was a good episode tonight. And some of the interviews were with his wife, his two sons, his daughter, and Diamond Dallas Page was interviewed. I thought did a good job tonight. And Taz, Shane Douglas, which I thought they also did a good job in the interviews. Dave Meltzer was interviewed for it, and they started off talking about him growing up in New Jersey, and he was a bounty hunter at one time. And then DDP talked about how one of the clubs or wherever he ran talked about how he met him there. And then he got into pro wrestling. And then his first run in the WWF, which only lasted about a year or so, talked about when he worked with Hogan. And one thing they definitely talked about was his agility for a man as big as he was, but he could move, he could do the cartwheels, the drop kicks, the moonsaults. And that's definitely one thing I remember about him, was especially at that time, there weren't too many of the big men who could move like that and do moonsaults from the top rope. Definitely one of the first, I would say, big, athletic, big guys in the business at the time. And then after his first exit from the WWF, showed when he went to Japan and worked there for a while. And there's this, I'm guessing it's some kind of interview that he done at one time. They have audio clips of it. I'm not sure if it's a radio interview or what kind of interview, but during the episode they play clips from it of him talking about his career. And then after that, they talk about his return to WWF. And of course, which I expected, the match at WrestleMania 11 against Lawrence Taylor, which he actually did pull a good match out of LT. I wouldn't say it was a 5-star classic or anything, but it was a pretty entertaining match. I remember watching that live at the time, and good thing about it is it did definitely get a lot of coverage. Of course, they had the press conference, and I believe Lawrence Taylor kissed him, and that got all over ESPN and all over the news and everything. So there might have been people who either are just casual wrestling fans or not really wrestling fans that might have tuned into that WrestleMania to see that match between him and Lawrence Taylor. And to go back a little bit, I know sometimes I go all over the place, but they talked about the tattoos, of course, on the head, the flames. And that was definitely one of the things that made him stand out. Because at the time, anyway, you didn't see too many people on TV or anything with tattoos on the top of their head. And then, of course, they cover his time in ECW, which earlier on in the episode they talked about how he met Paul Heyman even before Paul Heyman was actually in the business when he was working with the magazines and stuff. Dave Meltzer talked about this quite a bit, and he really hyped up Bam Bam, and like I said, his agility, the way he could move for a big man really got him noticed at that time. And the famous match with Taz where they went through the ring, at this time they show Taz and he talks about how they did it. And he said the first thing when they went through the ring, Bam Bam asked if he was okay because he was worried about Taz maybe hitting his head or something. And he said they had a trick. I don't know if I would really call it a trick, but with Bam Bam's tape, and he grabbed the rope and the tape was a measure of where he would land. I think that's what Taz said. And it worked. And the fans went crazy. Also, he talked about how they were getting it set up so they brawled through the crowd. And Taz even said he's old school and he didn't really know how to feel about kind of exposing the secrets that they had, but he did though. And his return to WCW, DDP getting him back there, and then the Jersey Triad with Chris Kanyon. And unfortunately, the drug use, his wife blamed the doctor because I think he was subscribing him too much, and just said the doctor was a fan, so he would give him the pills for autographed pictures and tickets. And unfortunately, it got too much, and then he passed away. A really sad story. His daughter tells the last time she seen him was, I want to say, she said she was only 3 at the time, and they were driving in the car, and he looked like he was kind of nodding, dozing off, and she came up with an excuse to get him to pull over, and they got back on the road, and then he started again, and then she remembers them pulling over, and he got out of the car, and then the next thing she knows is there was a policeman taking her out of the car, and he was arrested, and his wife says she told their daughter she won't be seeing him for a while because he got arrested for endangering his daughter, and then unfortunately he passed away. So overall, I'd say this was a pretty good episode of Dark Side of the Ring. Unfortunately, it was another kind of sad one, but definitely an interesting episode. And like I talked about, I definitely grew up watching Bam Bam in the WWF, and then those matches he had with Taz in ECW, I remember at the time, especially when they went through the ring, that was something you definitely didn't see at the time. I just remember being surprised when I saw it. And then when he went to WCW, which I did kind of enjoy, actually, the Jersey Triad with him, DDP, Chris Kanyon, and I think he even did some stuff at the time when WCW had their hardcore title. But that was tonight's episode of Dark Side of the Ring, and that's just 1 second. And don't really have too much news to talk about right now, so gonna wrap up this episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic, episode 455. Once again, thank you everyone for tuning in tonight. Hope to have an episode tomorrow night after AEW Dynamite. But speaking of Dynamite, we'll be back tomorrow morning with the Wednesday episode of Good Morning Wrestling Fans, and I will preview tomorrow's Dynamite. And remember, if you have any questions, comments, anything, you can leave your feedback on tonight's episode of NXT and Dark Side of the Ring. Also, if you want to give your predictions for the Great American Bash this Sunday, you can in the comments section on either Spreaker, YouTube, or wherever you listen to the podcast if they have a comment section. And I will talk to everyone tomorrow morning. But until then, I am Lance, and I am a wrestling fanatic.